Do we need to ask the boss if we can take our jackets off? No, you just do what you want. We got a red pen. Go to Dennis, we got a red pen. Let's start my name off. On the roll.
Goes up a bit low.
You get that turned off.
It's doing it. You
want to pray for me?
No, it's very hot.
On behalf of the organising committee,
Just put my hand in front
oh
of
God, during the summer, it would be a good idea if we had something like 40 years old. It would be a great idea. I said, yeah, go on off and organise it. I'll back you up. And he said, no, I was talking to Willie, he said, and you'd be a great man to do this.
Fair
The lads were here, it's a long time happening, 40 years. Granny Logan said, what's another year? There's a song, I think, and it says 21 years is a very long time. But this is 40 years, I think, it's more than a long time. Each round here is supposed to be. But anyway, better late than never. We're here to enjoy ourselves. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of memories and what have you to talk about before the night is over. So, to get the show on the road, really, you're all very welcome. A particular welcome, really, to Brother Denis.
Keep at it.
It's hard to imagine that he was a teacher. I suppose when you were going to school, you always thought the teachers, they were kind of old.
He was very young.
But he wasn't, and he isn't, and he looks as young as any of us. We're delighted to have him here.
But let's set the show on the road.
As well as that, lads, a few lads have travelled from afar. Frank Patterson all the way from Georgia.
Well done, good man.
Honour, all the way from Canada. Thank you, Callan. All the way from Honour Brother. Back from Heading, Declan College.
Yeah.
All the way from Brussels. We knew you'd sprout on the night. Cholaiste
Brother Denis, can you translate, please? Jeez, I've lost it. Fair play. I don't know really.
Get the show on the road.
It's all done with Carl Lewis.
Good man.
Stay seated.
Son of the Holy Spirit. Sorry, Connie.
As we renew our friendships and go over the memories of 40 years, it's long time. And we ask you to bless us as we enjoy them. We'll pass our compliments to the people involved in Jubilee.
And to standardise for the wine.
Yeah, that's part.
Is it gone?
But
Yeah, I went very early as well. There wasn't very much of it.
it went down.
Scottish company, by the way.
Standard Life could put their hands in their pocket.
Scottish company.
John Brindle thought you were.
Sorry, sorry. No, my friend used to talk.
Oh, jeez. Get him out of here. That's a fine. That's a fine. That's 10 bottles of wine. That's a fine.
That's his alarm clock. He doesn't want to tell anyone. No, but seriously, I hope you've all enjoyed the meal.
Yes, thank
We have a
you.
very important guest here tonight, as I've already said. And we'd like to ask him to go out to say a few words and both close to Brother Denis.
Here it is.
Vincent Crowe.
Who's
First of all, it's lovely being here tonight, and it's lovely meeting you all once again.
Whoever the hell you are.
Frank Heffernan was the only one I didn't know, because I remembered him as a kind of an Elvis character.
Elvis has left the building.
Elvis never died.
He's not really dead.
He never died.
Here he comes.
Bebop Alula.
I'm also delighted to see Frank O'Flynn, who sat next to me for a couple of years.
Somebody had to.
I'd say you took up most of the seat.
First of all,
3 trunks.
I suppose we thank God that we're all
Here.
here,
Yes. Well done.
because we wouldn't without his assistance. I never thought I'd hear myself celebrating anything really after 40 years, but it's a great privilege to be here with all of you, and particularly with Brother Denis, who was our teacher. we now realise we thought he was an old guy when he was but we now realise
We don't know he is.
He's like a nun, they never age.
we now realise he was only a couple of years older than ourselves.
That's right.
I remember him with the red hair, do you remember?
I do indeed, yeah.
We often tossed it
fade.
after him.
I remember him with the red knuckles.
There'll be no abuse evidence given here now.
Later.
That was a handful.
But anyway, it really is great to be here, and I would like to welcome Brother Denis, and also we have others who have come a long distance. Father Patterson has come from Georgia, and it is good that at least one of our
And he rode him on to us here.
you nearly picked them out as the best looking. There's something in celibacy. Anyway,
There's no future in celibacy.
I must say, I really enjoyed my years both in Cholaiste Chriost Ri and Cholaiste Chriost Ri, and I suppose if I was to have a choice of going back to a period in my life again, I think that would probably be the time. It was full of excitement and I suppose sport meant a lot
Expectancy.
to all of us and everything.
Innocence.
You're right.
And
That's true.
innocence, so when we carry that
Rock
on.
and roll.
Speak for
Without the short trousers.
No drugs and no sex, just rock and roll.
Also, there's
Rock and
a
roll without sex.
there's a definition given of a teacher as far imeasc na muchali agus buchel imeasc na
Ah,
and I think that Brother Denis was like a buchel imeasc na muchali when he was teaching us. And I'd also pay tribute to his good teaching. He was an excellent teacher.
yeah, good man.
And of course, he went on from there then, and really, he made a great impression on us as a trainer, and with his heart and soul were in it, as were ours. We expected no less, and he gave the same. But he went on then, and I'm sure you're all aware at this stage of his huge contribution in Offaly, where he spent most of his life as a teacher and principal of their community college. And of course, he has a national reputation for the work he has done in Offaly for hurling. And I think we can all, it's been said by the Offaly people, and we know it here in Cork, that his work was the basis for the outstanding successes Offaly have had over the years. He gave them a tradition, something that they really didn't have until his era, and starting with the All-Ireland colleges and so on like that. He has done, he not alone himself, but his family have made a wonderful contribution to education. And you may not know it, but he is still the chairperson of the Board of Management of Cholaiste Chriost Ri. So he has kept up a connection with Cholaiste Chriost Ri. One thing I remember we gave him when he left us, and it always intrigued me, was a fishing rod.
He sold it.
If he hasn't sold it, I have a lifelong interest in trout fishing, and if he doesn't use the rod, think of me as winner, please.
He got hooked on it. Now with the celibacy.
You never heard it, did you?
Anyway,
self-flagellation.
I'd like to pay, it gives me it's a great pleasure and a great honour to pay tribute to his great work, not alone for us, and I think our invitation to him and our friendship with him is indicative of how much we all thought of him and always think of him. And
I should
I'd
have
also like to
physics.
thank.
He didn't teach physics.
I'd also like him, on my behalf, to pass on to the presentation brothers our thanks for the tremendous teaching job, and the interest they've taken us was second to none. So it's a great pleasure for me to propose a toast to our teacher, Brother Denis. Thank you.
Brother Denis. God bless you. God bless you.
May you live forever.
Yes, sir.
Speech. Speech.
You must tell us about this, Frank.
If I may, I
Presentation.
we have a little gift from as well as on behalf of you.
Why?
I'd like to
Speech. Come on. On your feet. On your feet. Come on, on your feet.
If I may,
Is this a standard life insurance policy?
I'll stay seated, I'll make it formal. I was just thinking there that in a sense that you're a unique bunch because you experienced Evergreen Road, and then you experienced Thomas Street, and you were
Ray.
only proud
Ray, will you take
experience all.
the plant out of the way there? I can't see Brother Denis.
yes, sir.
And he's better looking than the plant.
Sorry, Doctor.
We call.
When this was mooted first, way back, one of the company whom I was chatting to told me that there was a possibility, but he told me a story that I think is worth repeating here, and I have his permission to tell it tonight, and you can guess who it was as the story unfolds. But this student of Cholaiste Chriost Ri in 1961 had been in Polish company, and his studies were not progressing favourably.
Can we start guessing already?
Everybody around. Okay, we've narrowed it down to 150.
The Easter report that Friday,
It's okay, boss.
and after Easter he decided he'd have to do something about it, and he
He turned up.
He went to school.
And he said to himself he'd study as he never studied before. So he gave up school, went to the library every day, went home at lunchtime as usual, and came back to the library after lunch. And really things were going on for about 10 days in a fortnight. And one evening he went home and found Bona in the kitchen. And he was like, Bona wanted to know why this student
Why Willie hasn't been to school.
his poor mother was highly embarrassed that her darling was letting her down. But anyway, the rest of the story now has models in it all over the place for all of you to pick up. When Bona disappeared anyway, with promises that he'd be back to school the following morning, this student and his father had a few confidential words. And the words used were, "Trust me, Dad, I know what I'm doing." The man can. So anyway, the upshot of it all was that this turned out to be a very good decision. That it was the right thing for that student at that time and the right direction to take, and the result was he did a fine leaving cert, because he studied for the first time in his life really with an incentive that was correct, because he was studying for himself. He was not studying under any directions or anything. He wanted to study for himself. But the follow-up of it was that 25 to 30 years later, a similar incident arose with his own child. And this is the model of the story now reading. That his son did a fine leaving cert, was quite a happy child, and went to UCD to study commerce. And after about 6 weeks, became quite introverted, and said to his parents that he wanted to give this up because all the professor or lecturer was doing was reading a book. And he said, I can do that myself. This is just boring, I can't stand it. And the parents convinced him anyway, tried for another week, thought it would probably change. Got worse. And the father, who's here present, said, after more exploration and imploration, please let me give this up. He said, I will on condition that you get a job. Within hours, literally, the dad went out and came back with a job in McDonald's. And for the remainder of that year, the young lad went out to work every morning, dickied up, collar and tie, clean shaved, as happy as Larry. Now there's a model there for parents to listen to what's happening. And I think it's important in this era of suicides and all the rest of it goes on. But anyway, that's maybe taking it too far. It came to the following year then, what is he going to do now? Go back to your city history commerce? Not at all. He went to Liverpool University for no other reason than that he had an interest in Everton Football Club and studied philosophy and other things and took off and never looked back. Alright? Who guessed who it is? Because you all know what that is. Willie Potter then. Willie Potter is the man. Have I told it accurately enough, Willie?
We knew that.
You didn't mention
you got wrong. The only thing that was wrong in the story is true, and I'd forgotten about my own son.
You didn't mention the women.
Well, that's the point that he
I know that was the point, and I asked that.
Sorry.
Was that when Bonaventure was in my front room, and Donald McCarthy was carrying lies to school, telling them I was sick, and I was down in the public library. Bonaventure was in my room, and my mother would have, was in bits. And my father, and the decision to go for me not to go back to school was taken that night in front of Bonaventure. And Bonaventure left the room in high dudgeon that he hadn't convinced my parents that I should keep going to school. And boys and their fathers had weird relationships, and you never, in our generation, rarely spoke to our fathers about anything. That night when he said, go on. And I know Conor O'Connell has a similar experience about sport, and it's odd little things like that that change you. Anyway, you shouldn't have told the story.
Permission, I
know, but I didn't know you were thinking about it.
Did you notice the attention it got?
That's because you speak quietly.
But you left out a bit about the girls.
I still preferred rock and roll.
The rest came later.
It is also strange that when I start thinking back of memories of those days now, the memories I have are all about outside of school, outside of classroom events. Totally, all involving games and the fun we had out with the green and belly fan and all that sort of stuff,
Can you remember, brother, right, when you were trying to grab Sheehan every evening, right, when he was leaving school to get him to go training, and he was trying to duck everywhere.
That's right, yeah.
You cut him off, right?
Yeah.
And I was glad that Frank did mention at the very beginning there that we'd remember our family.
Absolutely.
Because it is really sobering to think.
That's a lot of people.
It's a high percentage.
Percentage is very high, very, very high.
A friend of mine had one of these things a year earlier than us, from Christians. They had 2 leaving cert classes. I think there was 50 in the 2 classes, and there was only 1 guy there. And by the way, they had 6 priests. No, but quality is what matters.
Yeah, there's actually one of the school photographs, right, that have 3 of our class, right, that are right in the games, right, the photographs, right.
The same photograph.
One of the things I remember most was when we went on a retreat up to the Dominican Islands.
That's where I started smoking. It was a
new. There was this. I think he was a priest who had been in America, and he was quite open, and he treated us as adults. And you were supposed to go in and have a chat with him.
That's right.
And he used to say I was in the Marines and there's nothing you can tell me that.
However, he said, before we start, he said, do you mind if I ask you a question? I said, no, fella, go ahead. How come he says everyone in your class smokes Chesterfield cigarettes?
It was £1 a carton in them days.
There were 2 shillings a pack.
I think before I finish, I would like to mention Bonaventure though, in another context, because you all know what he did in Chriost Ri. He founded it actually, and the wrangling and so on that he did to get that site of Capel Road was unique, because he had to buy it from about 15 different people. And it was nobody but him could do it. I mean, he was a wheeler. And then when he felt he had his work done in Capel, he took out to Bishopstown and did the very same. Did the very same. Started off in a house, in an ordinary house in Model Farm Road, and then bought a site again and did the very same thing again. And then when he was finished that, you all know that he left the brothers and went and was ordained a priest and went to work in a poor area of Southampton.
I was lucky to meet him.
Frank met him there actually.
I met him there in, about 25 years ago now.
Yes. But the sad part of it was then that he got sick, got cancer, came over here to the National Hospital and died a lonely man. In the city where he did so much.
We should have known about
it. Why was he a lonely man?
Nobody told him.
Because, he wasn't lonely in the sense that he came back to the brothers, because the brothers visited. But I mean, the diocese of Southampton obviously would have been completely cut off from him. Any colleagues he'd have there were completely cut off. But there were a few brothers. In fact, there was an old brother that some of you might have known. He wasn't the same room as him when he died. Yes, you would know him, I'd say. But I find that sort of thing very sad. And
Well, I went in when he was in the Mercy Hospital. He had a very tough bishop apparently, where he was working. I know, it wasn't Murphy O'Connor.
It was Dr.
But anyway, he was a master at what you've just described, fundraising and organising and getting people to do things and all of
Bishop
that.
Mervyn.
But I think even this bishop put into the pin of his collar with the amount of work. He gave him huge assignments like building churches and.
He was an old man then.
He wasn't the oldest. But when I went into it, I went up to the room, the Mercy, someone told me he was in the hospital, so I said I would go and see him. So I went up anyway, I opened the door, and he was laying in the bed there. And, I tried to initiate a few words with him. And he said, Vincent, he said, I just have too much pain, I can't talk to him. Like, that was awful, after all. After all the work and the frenetic activity of every kind. And it was sobering really. So I left really without, beyond him knowing that I was there. That's as much as my visit did, because he was suffering at that point.
Yeah, and the unknown suffering then that guys like Finn Barninen or
That's right.
we don't know anything about.
That's right.
Teddy good
Teddy
Aston Nivers as well.
But this idea of getting the class together was a great idea, and you've already experienced what it's like now, and the great friendships that can be rekindled by doing this, and even by mentioning people who aren't here at all. I was asking about other people now that many people would know, like Miles Keogh. I kept contacting Miles Keogh because you remember the incident. And at that time, you mightn't have known, but the detectives came in to me that evening to see what we were booked in school, as a chemistry teacher. What this was up, and it was that Miles was a step ahead of everything. Like Miles was experimenting with his own kids at home and so on. And I became very friendly with Miles' family that time through that incident. He was up in the orthopaedic for months afterwards, and I got to know his mother very well. A lovely lady. She was a native of Enniskillen, And she lived here in Ballinlough Road for a long
That's
time,
right.
and in her older years she went up to live with Miles. Miles is a lovely house now on the shores of up near Annacone, and he's teaching chemistry in Galway Regional.
Still blowing people up.
There's one other thing, and I think it would be most ungracious not to thank Nola Donovan.
Here.
Yes. Nola's had great trouble getting cuttings, contacting us, making the arrangements. Someone has to take a bit of initiative.
Yeah.
Noel and Donald have
Well
done that, and we appreciate that.
Let's be honest, I got a lot of pleasure out of it too. There were a lot of funny incidents really that happened. I was out canvassing for support and that kind of thing. But one of the funniest ones really was Billy Morgan. Billy was up and down the Malware and drops into me from time to time. But there's a mine of information really about things that happened. And probably things that didn't happen at all. But he seems to remember them anyway. But he came in one day to the office over. He really runs the insurance consultancy and he drops into me there from time to time. Anyway, he said, I heard you're organising your dinner. And I said, yeah, we are. And he said, I suppose they're all scattered, are they? All over the place? I said, they're all scattered before they ever left. And he said, tell me who's coming. And I said, we have Frank Patterson. I said, coming from America. And we have Calla coming from Germany. And we have, who else have we?
Connie from Toronto.
From Toronto. Very impressed.
The news hadn't got through.
And Frank Penny from Cork.
I was going through the names anyway, and I said, and we have Sean McCarthy, and I said, I traced him, I said he was down in Middleton, I said I just looked up the phone book and I saw he's either John or Sean. And anyway I saw Sean McCarthy, I said I'd try that now anyway. And I rang him, sure, it was Sean. But Billy said, Sean McCarthy, so you couldn't find him. He wasn't in your class at all. He said he was in my class. I said he wasn't in your class, he was in my class. There were two Sean McCarthy.
I was in board class.
That complicated still further.
You were,
But anyway,
In the intersect, I jumped.
oh yes, and he says, oh yes, Sean, you're Sean McCarthy. He said, he's Knocky, isn't he? And he said, you don't know what you'll do. He said, when you see Knocky, tell him this story. He said, because he said, this is very funny, he said. And he said, we were going up past the church, he said, one day, going back to school. Well, time to school, 12:30 to 2:45, was it? Well, maybe you don't know, but it was anyway. But he said, we were walking past Thomas past school, and he said he was with Knocky, and we were strolling back. And there was a fella came up the middle of the road with a bike, with about 10 coats on him. There were about 5 or 6 dogs all hanging off the bike, yeah? And he said, we called them thousands. He said, thousands? Like he didn't have thousands of dogs. No, he said, but there was a few dogs there, all right. I got the message on that. And Billy said, I said to Knocky, do you know what your man's name is? Thousands. So thousands cycled back on the bike, and passed the bike, and the bike with the dogs and all that. And Knocky shouted out, thousands! Get off the bike! You see, thousands stops the bike, looks back at Knocky, tears back the road on, Knocky into the school with Billy Morgan, up into the thing, couldn't find him. That was okay, and about 3 days later, Billy said, we were over in the shop across the way, what's Caddigan's, is it? Where they used to go for the penny fags on, go.
And a match.
Penny from a fag. And Shawnee was coming out the door of the shop anyway, and if you had thousands was going into the shop, and he just put his bike up against the railing and the dogs were going, and he saw Knocky, he didn't recognise him out there, he went over and he gave a clatter. And he said, you're talking to Sean, I said, remind me.
I remember when Sean and I were in Greenmount National School, and we were all boys up in the loft.
Oh, good God.
That didn't happen.
I'm bragging now. I'm bragging. And there was a 10 o'clock mass in the Loch Parish every morning, and Knocky and I would, when we were the senior kind of altar guys, would have our name down for the 10 o'clock mass every morning. So at 10:15 up in Greenmount School, we used to walk around the class and go off them, and there'd be weddings and stuff, and we were cleaning up nicely.
Taking the envelopes for the autumn wines.
That's where
It
they
was lovely walking out of class, I thought, just to go to.
that's where they got their love of wine.
But in finding people for this, we hadn't heard from Declan Corrie. No, Declan we hadn't heard from you, and we didn't know whether he was coming or not.
That's right.
So I got the Dublin telephone directory, and I found the Declan Corrie in Greystones. So I rang up, and this young lady answered the phone. I said, "May I speak to Mr. Corrie, please?" She said, "He's not here at the moment." She said, "In fact, he's in Spain. Can I take a message?" No, I said, "I'm not sure whether I have the right number, but I'm trying to organise a class reunion." And I said, "This guy, he'd have retired about 40 years ago." She said, "That could be." No, he could have gone to school. He says, "That could be my dad." She said, "How old is he?" She said, "He's 58. She said, "Where did he go to school?" She said, "I'm not sure, but it was down the country somewhere."
Sorry, gentlemen, that's how you were thought of in Dublin.
That's right.
Down the country somewhere.
She knew he was a culture.
Shame on you that you didn't disabuse him of that.
So anyway, she said, I tell you now, it could very well be him because he is 58. He didn't go to school down the country, and if there was a reunion, I'm sure he'd love to be there. So I'll ring him in Spain, and where is it on, and what is the date, and I gave her all the details. So if there's a guy out in the valley, probably,
If there's a guy out there with a tan,
The wrong fella.
nothing to do with me.
Hold on.
Before you break up, lads, I'd just like to mention in passing quickly the other teachers were there at the time. Now, I gather here from the Tony Feely.
Anthony Docker,
Yeah.
The
best.
Sorted as that.
Very suddenly. He joined us in '57 in the Kinsale Road, and at the time he was in poor shape actually because he was teaching here in Pierce Leahy's school in
Camden Key.
And he came to Paul and he said, "For God's sake, give me a job."
Proper job,
You know,
yeah.
and he came and made a profound
Major impact.
No, he was one.
Sorted as that.
Then there was Rocky, as you know, he left in '66 and became principal of the first comprehensive school in the country, and retired about 7 years ago. He's still involved and has been very much involved in curriculum development countrywide, and has been really in the last 25 years a national figure in the whole area of curriculum development.
Yeah.
And he's a first class and regarded as such education.
And recently he's just completed a law degree, a friend of his.
That's right, he would be about 73 or 74.
75.
And looking remarkably well.
Yes, yes.
And staring at me.
He started off as a primary teacher in Cork and did a 9th degree, and he would have joined the Cholaiste Chriost staff about 2 years before me, I'd say.
He joined Cholaiste Ri staff when we were in about first year, right?
What time did you join Cholaiste Ri, brother?
57. 57.
Was it that long ago? Oh, I didn't think it was that long. Because we had him for Irish and everything.
Now the other Conkeef, Con went into the department and climbed up the line to assistant chief inspector, and I've lost track, but I know he's retired now.
Mackie Keith lives near me in Dublin, and I see him out walking, and he can walk at about a pace of about 8 miles an hour. And he has a walking
He used to have a racing bike.
And he used to have a racer, but he walks faster than the racer now. And he's seriously...
And he called us all Mr. We never calling anyone.
That's right.
He became in school.
Mr. Dunstable, by the way, before we finish about Mr. O'Donovan, he was the first Corkman to confer a lordship on Lord Penny. He asked Frank a question one day, and Frank kind of slipped up on the seat like this, and he said, "Do you think you're a lord or something?" And we christened Frank Lord Penny.
It was very very easy to get a nickname that time because
Oh.
Tony Feely got
Was
it.
Doctor.
Now, did you know Aidan O'Donoghue?
We did.
Aidan is dead too. His wife lives out of Bishopstown.
You play the music.
Was a primary teacher.
Annie and
Kiro,
Kiro.
What about Dan?
Agus can make she dance brass, dan Lila Farm, the chucking muffin can make she dance.
Fum Shong Gal Somali.
And you thought we were learning nothing. You thought we weren't
I
listening.
withdraw my previous remarks about an Elvis type.
How do you know? You were never there. You were never there.
I tell you, Dantro, you couldn't miss it. Dantro.
Well, I didn't listen anyway.
He left Cholaiste Chriost Ri very early on to spend the remainder of his life in
Jail.
Don't interrupt, Frank, please.
Sorry, don't get personal.
Later.
He spent his life.
Sorry.
He used to see his heirs
Teddy Sullivan got it, was very friendly with him for years. They was
Go on, Frank, let's hear the story. Let's hear the story, Frank.
One of the members
Let's hear the story. Go on.
Brother Denis, continue.
Good story.
Frank's up the story. You got the floor.
No, Brother Denis.
And the ceiling.
Sorry.
No, I was interrupting you.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Frank.
Go ahead.
No,
Come down here, sorry.
I was asking about, or Noel was asking about Donegal O'Hay. And Donegal O'Hay was sitting next to me in leaving such class. That's the reason why I say Noel that I'm right, like he did leaving with us last year. But Dantro was teaching us Irish and we were doing a pre-leaving exams. And Donegal asked me to show me number 5 question or something like that, and I kind of told him not to kind of put it word for word down what I had written. But unfortunately he was stupid enough to do it. But this actually happened now. When the results came out anyway, Dantro was standing at the top of the class and he was insinuating that somebody
Copy, yeah.
and nobody was standing up or anything else like that, holding up to it. And he walked down the passage and he gave me a right-hander just up there on the fire. And he said, I'd see both of you, he said, above in the physics laboratory at 1 o'clock. We were getting on holidays the same day. So I met his Annie and I said, you better run up to this, like, you know. I don't think it's fair. So we went up to the physics laboratory and I said, you better tell him when he comes in, you know. And the next thing he arrives in and he had the tie open and the shirt open. And he walks in anyway and he says, Donegal, I'm off that. Salon that. And he comes up to me and he says, he takes a topper out of his pocket. And I'll have to do
That's
it.
the word I'm there for.
That's right.
He takes the topper out of his pocket.
It's a little fag, yeah.
Bag, half a smoke. One match. So he pushes me and he says, you think you're a big guy, don't you? So I said, I beg your pardon. And I said, what time is it? And he said, it's 1:05 and I gave him a hit. And he got up off the ground and he shook hands and he said, have a nice holiday. That's the boys after. And that actually happened. That's
It's the way you tell it. It's the way you tell it.
So there was more times than one time.
There was a question that I was asking Noel at the dinner. The comparison that you've seen between your own study habits and those of your children. You know, haven't
You maidens young and fair, all you who are in your prime, always beware and keep your garden fair. Let no man steal away your time, for time it is a precious thing, and time brings all things to my mind.
Great voice, great voice.
All its flavor, along with all its joy. Time brings all things to my mind. Once I thought it never would decay. Then a rusty sailor chanced to come my way. He stole my bunch of time away. The sailor gave to me a rose, a rose that never would decay. He gave it to me to keep me mindful of when he stole my time away. So come on, you maidens young and fair, all you who are living in your prime, always beware and keep your gardens fair. Let no one steal away your time.
Be a Valentine, a birthday greeting.